Hello, I would like to welcome you to our first version of PROFINET-NEWS. My name is Alex Wangler, and with this format we would like to inform you about news, updates and events of the last months around the topic PROFINET. The topics range from specifications and development to the completed, tested and certificated device and application. We will also inform you about tools, events and further trainings. In addition, we will ask experts to explain one or two points in more detail. This brings us to today's agenda points. In the first part, we will give you an overview of the documents and specifications published last year and what the PROFINET security classes are all about. Next, we will give you an overview of a few of our supported technologies. The next part is about certifications and in particular Plugfest events, followed by an overview of updated and new tools. We tell them where they can get information about new products and where they can have a chance to look at them. Then we come to the important help and support part. And finally, we will inform you about what's happening at PI and its regional associations. We provide you with the slides shown, further links, more detailed description, documentation and additional information. If you have any further questions or comments, our forum is available 24/7. And because PI attaches great importance to its community, we ask for feedback on this format shown here at the end. As long as the number of viewers and feedback does not prevent this, we plan to publish a new news post approximately every 6 months. Okay, let's start with our first among and the first version of PROFINET-NEWS. In 2024, PI once again worked hard on standardizing the future. A total of 28 PI documents were created, reviewed, approved and released. These include specification, guideline and descriptions related to safety, security, APL, profit drive and testing. PI's annual review 2024, which was published in December, provides you with a corresponding overview. It also contains links to information pages. Members can download the documents and tools for free as usual. The overview also includes some tools that were updated and released last year, but more on that later. Security is important in all areas of life. In industry, in particular, it is important to protect resources, machines, and data from unauthorized access or manipulation. PI takes care of the relevant standards here. To this end, it has defined 3 security classes. The first has already been implemented in practice. The other 2 are currently being worked on. Dominik Ziegler, head of Secure Technology Working Group, explained the 3 classes simply and clearly in one of the last PR webinars. Here is the excerpt.
In PROFINET, we have 3 different security classes. The first one being the security class 1, which deals about the robustness of the system. Security class 1 does not tackle PROFINET messages on the wire. It is basically a hardening mechanism in order to ensure robust production, but it does not protect against attacks on the wire. This is handled in security class 2 and 3. Other than that, security class 1 encompasses 3 important features. First of all, the ability to set DCP in a read-only mode. Then it also allows you to configure your SNMP settings. For example, you can change your community strings, your read and write strings in that sense. But you can also turn off SNMP if you like to, but also, of course, you can turn it on. It employs also this strategy of digital signatures for GSML files in the form of the GSDX container. To complete the picture, what does security class 2 and 3 mean? Security class 3 provides a distinct set of features, which we also describe as integrity and authenticity. So first of all, it encompasses everything which I just described for security class 1, but it also provides communication protection on the PROFINET wire. So PROFINET messages can be protected in the sense that we know who sent the message and if a message has been tampered with or not. It also employs a role-based access control mechanism so that we know who can perform which actions. And we also introduced a event logging system which allows us to deal with compliance requirements, for example, so that we can log certain events such as security-related events to a, for example, ID system such as a CM system. And finally, Security Class 3 encompasses everything which is included in Class 2. In addition to that, you can also provide confidentiality of data, meaning you can also encrypt messages so that eavesdropping on the wire is not possible anymore.
PROFINET and its related technologies continue to expand their market role in industrial communication. This can also be seen in the figure. PROFINET has once again added more than 10 million new nodes. PROFIsafe in particular is becoming increasingly important here and is attracting the attention of more and more companies and their machines. This also includes IO-Link, which connects small and inexpensive sensors to the PROFINET network with almost 16 million new nodes. This is an increase of 89% compared to the previous year's figure. With PROFINET in machines, in the manufactures of products, and in the operation of systems, customers all over the world rely on the number one. As host, PI also takes care of technologies that further advance PROFINET and its huge ecosystem. This now also applies to NAMUR Open Architecture, NOAA or NOA for short. At the field level, there is a large amount of data that could be of interest for analysis at the higher levels. This is precisely where NOAA comes into play in the industry, delivering relevant information from the OT level to the IT level via a side channel without affecting the existing infrastructure. The PI was selected by NAMUR and CVEA provided a home for this technology and to develop it further in the future. The choice of PI is sensible for two reasons. In order to implement use cases and initial test systems in interoperable applications, it is necessary to develop a standardized specification and certification. On the other hand, PI has decades of experience with precisely the tasks and was therefore the right partner for outset. A corresponding agreement was therefore concluded between NAMUR, CVEA and PI, which forms the basics for further steps, such as establishment of joint working groups. Thanks for the comprehensive investigation and development of use cases. This is a good basic for entry into specification work and international standardization. The key to faster and more flexible responses to changing market requirements is the use of module systems. Module type packages, MTPs for short, play an important role here. They combine the orchestration of process technology modules and machines into unit, that making them more efficient. One of the advantages of this technology is the much simpler and faster integration of machines into a higher level SCADA or mesh. It is an open standard that completely manufacturer independent. But what does this mean? In the PROFINET world, there is a concept of a GSD file. GSD stands for General Station Description. All features, data, formatting, values, and basic capabilities for a device are organized and described in such a file. It is used when integrating the device into a controller, be it an IPC or a PLC. Similarly, in the IO-Link world, there is a concept of an IO-Link device description, an IODD file for short. MTP is like a GSD or an IODD, but on steroids. Instead of describing a single device or sensors, MTP is used to describe an entire machine or subsystem. All machine data, operating screens, functions, or alarms are immediately available in a higher level system. In the past, when we thought of process control system, for example, We often imagined monolithic systems that had been operated for decades without any changes, depending on the vertical industry. With the introduction of concepts such as mass customization into factory automation and process control, they need more efficient modularization is becoming increasingly important. This is where MTP comes into play. The software in which an MTP file is imported is known as a process orchestration layer, POL for short. This would be, for example, the software behind the SCADA or mesh. When the MTP file is imported into the POL, offline service engineering is carried out together with the communication configuration, for example via OPC-UA. If recipe or batch engineering is available, MTP uses the ICA88 standard here. The next steps in the orchestration test, the plug, and then commissioning, the play. It's really like a plug and play on the normal computer, only on a large scale. With MTP and the resulting modularization, the flexibility of production systems is significantly increased and subsequent changes can be implemented much faster than before. Say, Dr. Matthias Mauermeier, MTP committee leader of the joint working groups of Namur, CVEA and PI, as the biggest advantage. The first products based on module type package were presented at the ACHEMA and SBS trade fair last year. Visitors to the PI booth were able to see for themselves how quickly and easily it can be integrated with one or more higher-level orchestration systems. The integration of process equipment assembly, PEAs for short, into a higher-level control or SCADA system for process orchestration was illustrated in a large manufacturer-independent live demo. POL systems enable the operation, monitoring, process control, coordination, and documentation of the production of the entire systems. 12 manufacturers exhibited solutions and products for automation with PEAs. A further 7 participated with POLs. Special expedition at Namur and CVEA trade fair stands also presented unique use cases. It once again underlines the good cooperations between PI and its partners. SRCI stands for Standard Robot Command Interface. This enables robots from different manufacturers to control via standard protocol and directly via Profit PLC. I spoke to Günnes Bilgin about this. He is the head of the PI working group for robotics and was one of the organizers for annual get-together for robotics, where manufacturers, startups, universities, and customers exchange information about their progress and further technologies. Günnes, can you explain to us in few words what SRCI is and what the advantages are?
Yes, of course. SRCI, so-called Standard Robot Command Interface, is a standard as a PI organization. And as you see here on the slide, on the right side you see a robot cell, on the left side you see a PLC. If anybody would like to write a robot program and talk to a robot from the PLC, it is a little bit challenging. And to solve this challenge, we have defined this standard again, SRCI. And SRCI consists of 2 elements. On the right side, we have an interpreter, and on the left side, we have a library. So by calling the library functions via SRCI, you can talk to robot, and the interpreter can understand everything what you have sent as a command. This is maybe the easy answer to what is SRCI, and the other answer is we call SRCI also as an evolution. The reason for this is it is somehow changing mentality in the market, because the robotics world is, I would say, closed. The solutions are closed, and now with SRCI it's getting more open, changing also in the teams, the mentalities, that they can work more efficient and open together. But also it reduces interfaces, it releases the brakes on the growth of the robot market, so to say. It paves the way for smart robotics, intelligent robotics, SRCI. It enables the startups, we have many startups in robotics, that they can use SRCI and also optimize their resources. Therefore, we see a win-win progress for all in the market, really. And at the end, we have to say it is for all. It is available for all in the market who talks to robots.
Okay. Sounds good. And who is involved?
Yeah, this is, of course, for the standard main question, who is using the standard? I would say we have a positive answers today. I mean, our working group is very large at the moment. We have around about 28 vendors. They have access to the specification, to SRCI. Even not every of them are implementing today. So therefore, I have another slides for you to show you the implementation status of the vendors. You see here on the top, the green color vendors, which have released their interpreter. They are supporting the SRCI. And the blue ones, the robot vendors, they are in progress with the development. We hope that all of them or many of them will be able to release also next year.
Next year, okay. Cool. Interesting. And my last question for today, how do you see the opportunities in the future of SRCI? What can we expect here over the next few years?
Let me answer this with a comparison to English. So English of robotics is SRCI. That means what is English in the world is or will be, I would say, in the world of robotics. So, or we can compare also with Android or smartphone. How many people are using smartphone and Android? And we expect that SRCI will be Android of robotics. Also, it means in maybe 2 and 3 years, nearly everybody, every player in the market will use it or will at least hear about it. This is our expectation for the next 2 and 3 years.
Oh, okay. Thank you for these insights, and I wish you a very success establishing SRCI. Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank you very much.
Everybody is talking about PROFISafe and virtualization. PI also does this in an industrial environment. In addition to a virtual PLC or iDevice, the main focus is on safety-related communication. I spoke to Christian Eitner, chair of the PROFISafe Technic Working Group and editor of the specification about this. Christian, can you please give us a short overview of virtualization and safety relation communication?
Yes, sure. Thanks for the invitation. I'm glad I can shed some light on this. So let's start with the blank slate here. What are we talking about in an abstract way? We are talking about components talking to each other via an industrial network. So we have here our controller on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is our device. And of course, here at PI, we are usually talking about PROFINET. So controller and device are talking to each other over PROFINET. Of course, in a real topology, it's much more than 2 components, but for the abstraction level we are talking about here, that's enough. Okay, safety-related communication, what does that mean? So we put an abstraction layer on top of the communication that we already have in place. We will then call the components that are talking to each other the F-hosts. So for fail-safe related, the F-host and the F-device, and we have our PROFISafe protocol on top of PROFINET. And this is already the first key takeaway point. So on top, what does that mean? PROFISafe is a specially formed but normal payload using the PROFINET protocol. So the PROFINET protocol is not being changed by PROFISAFE running on top of it. The job of PROFISAFE is to detect possible errors in the communication. So for example, packages not arriving in time, or being in the wrong order, or being addressed to a wrong component. So all these things, PROFISAFE's job is to detect these problems, and all of the mechanisms to do that are within the PROFISAFE protocol, and all of this is in the payload in PROFINET. So what PROFISAFE does not do and does not know is the specifics of the underlying communication. This is very important. So this is one of the main benefits of using PROFISAFE. You don't have to tweak your PROFINET communication for the PROFISAFE mechanisms to work. And this is a very important principle in fail-safe related communication, and we call this the black channel principle, because we are not looking into what's going on in the PROFINET communication. So we keep those points in mind when we are now talking about virtualization. So first, virtualization, what does it mean? What does it encompass? So in the first iteration of virtualization, we're usually talking about putting controllers into a virtual environment. So having these controllers not as a hardware box in our hands, but as a software entity in a special environment. And we call this environment the virtual computing environment. This is the infrastructure which you usually buy from a well-known vendor that provides the means to put your virtualized component into this special environment. We then call the controller a virtual controller. It does the same job as before, but it's not a hardware box anymore. We keep, of course, many of the hardware boxes because we have to interact with the real world. So over here, our device is still existing on the physical plant level. We have our PROFINET L2 network in place, and we are having all the network infrastructure on the shop floor, on the plant or machine level. And to bridge these two aspects, the virtualization part on the one side and the physical world, we need a few more layers or components. So at first we have the so-called transport network environment. This is a network and network infrastructure that bridges the world from OT to IT. So coming from the shop floor, we somehow have to get into the world of the IT and virtualization, and we do this first with the transport network environment. And then lastly, we have the so-called virtual network environment. So this is the virtualized network infrastructure where you see all these keywords and functionalities that are now the latest buzz. So here you would have like virtual network adapters, so a virtualization of what we know in the real world as network adapters. You have virtual LANs, and you even have things like virtual switches. So the benefits are, of course, greater flexibility in parameterization and scalability, but of course, a bit more complexity. So now looking at this chain, at these different levels, they are, of course, somehow connected to each other. And to make communication possible, all of these layers are being passed through by PROFINET communication. So we see our green line in here. So the PROFINET communication is still running between our two components, but it's now passing a few more steps. So what's going on if we now focus on the safety-related communication aspect? So now our components are transformed into yellowish safety-related components. So we have a yellow part, a safety-related part in our controller, and a safety-related part in our device. And of course, we want to put PROFISAFE once again on top of this existing PROFINET communication, which is now a bit more intricate PROFINET communication. And if you remember the first couple of slides, so we said PROFISAFE is a special payload on top of PROFINET, and this doesn't change. It also doesn't change that we still have the black channel principle in place. So although many things are now happening in software that might influence how the PROFINET communication is being parameterized, we still have the black channel principle. So we still don't care in PROFISafe about what's going on in PROFINET, because all the mechanisms to detect possible problems are within the PROFISafe protocol itself. And this is the big leap here, the big step. So nothing changes in terms of the understanding of our mechanisms of PROFISafe. So all the PROFISafe error detection mechanisms are still fully effective, regardless of how much virtualization is going on in the components or in the network infrastructure along the way of the communication. Let me just point out one important aspect here. So we have now been talking about the PROFISafe communication going on and saw that gladly nothing changes for you as a user or implementer of PROFISafe, so no additional measures have to be taken for this to work. Of course, how to bring a safety-related device or component into a virtual computing environment, this is a big task, and you have to think carefully about this. And this is vendor specific. So depending on what you're doing and which design you choose, you have to take different approaches of making this happen. So the key takeaway points are PROFISafe itself as the protocol is still fully effective in a world of virtualization. So regardless of what happens underneath, PROFISafe itself is, so to say, self-contained in its mechanisms. It will point out if anything goes wrong along the way, but you don't have to adapt any of your PROFISafe implementations to work in a virtual environment.
Okay, that was a lot of information. Are further training sessions planned online or on-site, for example?
Yes, so this was like a short glimpse on one specific aspect of PROFISafe. There's much more to say about PROFISafe and functional safe communication and functional safety per se. So we have the PROFISafe designer workshop, which is a 3 half-day affair, which is usually done virtually. But if you have enough colleagues at your company who are interested in the topic, it's also possible that I visit you on site. So this will give you all the basics. I only hinted at the principles of black channel communication and the error model and which errors have to be detected and so forth. So this will cover in the PROFISafe designer workshop. It's a great opportunity to get known in the PROFISafe community, but to get to know the PROFISafe technology. And then there's also the PROFISafe designer webinar, a webinar that's for free for a few hours, a few times each year. So where you would get news and updates on specific topics, what's going on, and I'm sure virtualization and the surrounding topics will be on our list of topics to discuss, because this is a topic that will keep growing and will keep gaining importance in the future. And Alex, I'm sure you will point out in your slide deck the links to the PI website where you can register for these webinars for the designer workshop. Also, there's a PROFISafe forum out there, so either you can contact me directly. Alex will provide you the contact information if you have specific questions, and if you search for the PROFISafe forum on the internet, you can also ask questions there. So the message is you're never alone at PI. So whatever your questions are, we will try to get them answered.
Yes, that's correct. And then I will say thank you, Christian, for the short overview.
Thanks, Alex. Bye.
Bye. Last year, PI organized 2 PROFINET Plugfest on the topic of security classes. The Smart Factory OWL and the OTH Amberg were ideal hosts in June and December and provided premises and the necessary technical environments. The focus of Plugfest is primarily on early interoperability tests of new functions of the new PROFINET specifications. Therefore, as always, device manufacturers, technology providers, test experts, and measuring device manufacturers were involved. In particular, the protocol interoperability of PROFINET with security extension was tested together. Among other things, the cryptographic protection of each telegram for PROFINET security classes 2 and 3. This gives everyone involved on-site the opportunity to immediately adapt their implementation of the new findings. The PROFINET certification system plays a special role here. This was prepared in close cooperation with the developers and manufacturers so that official certification tests could already be carried out during the events. The simple portability of the test systems also ensure that tests can be repeated and optimized by the manufacturers themselves at any time, regardless of such events. The Plug festivals were a complete success for all participants. As mentioned at the beginning, PI has updated its tools as well as many documents over the past year. In addition to the GSD tools, Upgrade GSDML, and the GSD Checker, there were also new versions of the PROFINET Test Bundle and the PROFINET ProfitDrive Profile Tester. The latter is also available in trial versions. 2024 was also something completely new. With the SRCI SDK, PI will support the implementation process of interested robot or PLC providers in the future. Experience shown that this has reduced the development effort requirement to implement the core SRCI profiles from 36 to just 14 man-months. Also new, the Linux test bench has published in cooperation with Linotronics, Intel, and Siemens. This test bench is the real-time and non-real-time traffic validation tool for convergent TSN networks. PROFINET as well as OPCOA PubSub and other configuration protocols are supported. Furthermore, the performance validation of security algorithms can be utilized. The evaluation application is primarily used to simulate a PLC. It generates RT and non-RT traffic, mirror traffic, and performance consistency and latency checks. New PROFINET devices are intensively tested worldwide in order to meet the high standards. Only when the test results has been verified by an independent test laboratory do they receive certification and thus official approval for release for sale. And this is important because only in this way can end customers be sure that the devices used will work perfectly together and independently of the manufacturers, even when the demands are high. One example of this is PI's multi-window demo, which will be shown at the next trade fair in April. Servo motors from 11 different manufacturers are integrated in one machine. Among other things, access and angel synchronization is also clearly illustrated. If you would like to know more about new devices, simply subscribe to our monthly PI newsletter. Here you will also find the selection of the latest devices and further links. Last year, there were many opportunities to learn about PROFINET with its protocols and related technologies. From small to large online webinars and one-site training sessions to major events, national and international participants were able to obtain information and further education. Thousands of participants were there. Once again this year, PI Worldwide is offering you a range of local and international webinars every month. You can use the filter on the training in the event page to quickly and easily find the right training courses for you. You will also receive information on major events such as upcoming trade fairs and conferences. In addition, the one-site events offer participants of opportunity to speak directly with the speakers alongside the presentations. And the best of all, as most of the events are sponsored by PI members, they are usually free of charge for participants. Here are a few pictures from our one-site events, such as one of the one-day training sessions in the United States or the Supercombi in Germany. And the other countries also offer them the opportunity to exchange information about PROFINET with its profiles and related technologies on-site. Trade fairs at which PI and its regional PI associations are regularly represented are also a good opportunity. So it's worth taking a look at our event page. The PI forum is available to all PROFINET enthusiasts. Here we help device developers, machine builders, and end customers, among others, in the manufacturer-independent manner. All contributions are freely available and can be read by anyone. Should you have any questions, you can ask them at any time after registering free of charge. The knowledgeable experts from our member companies will answer them. The topic range from technologies, profiles, and implementations to tests and certifications. Corresponding subchapters help you to address your questions. We also share questions from our webinars and workshops in the forum. Further links can also be found below under PROFINET Explains. The next page we would like to introduce to you has been specially created for robot users. As mentioned at the beginning, in future robots can be controlled with SRCI regardless of the manufacturers. The SRCI-Vendor-Map provides the perfect overview. It is divided into 3 search options. On the left, you can filter by manufacturers to display the supported functions for each device. These differ in the terms of implementations. Clients stands for the controlling devices and interpreter for the robots. In the middle is all about the functions themselves. Here you can see which manufacturer supported certain commands with the devices. The right options give you the opportunity to compare 2 devices independently for the manufacturers. At the bottom of each page is a list of results, which you can also filter. All results can also be downloaded as a PDF file. PROFINET simplified the selection process for robots with SRCI and the Vendor-Map. In the future, it will be possible to select suitable robots based on the specific characteristics. PI is currently working on a new version of the product finder. One of its goals is to simplify the search. And by standardizing the database to E-Class version 14, the results will have more content and more detailed information in the future. To find out more, I spoke with PROFIsafe. He is the responsible project manager and can give us some first insights.
Hello Ulf, you are working on the new product finder. What can you tell us about it?
Hi Alex, hi everybody. I would like to tell you a brief information about the new product finder, PROFINET product finder. As you know, the PROFINET community is growing and growing, and the organization is doing everything to enlarge the open PROFINET ecosystem. This product finder is one of this activity to allow customer, whether it's machine builder, a system integrator, or an end customer, to find easily the right PROFINET product for their application. And for manufacturers, it's a huge advantage that they are able to present their products in the whole community and to make it easily find for the customer. Let me give you a quick view in this product finder, as it is a new prototype and it is already launched, so you are able to play with it and use it. On the bottom, you find the search functionality. And we improve this search functionality tremendously. So the customer is able to look for example, for a manufacturer order number. And immediately you find the product regarding this order number. We are able to find as well, to search for specific vendors, for every single PROFINET feature, whatever you want. In addition, the people or the user are able to use a filter. The filter, for example, for different types of technology, whether it's PROFINET, PROFIBUS, PROFIDRIVE, which are the PROFINET profiles, the PROFIsafe, PROFIEnergy, or later on as well IO-Link. he's able to search for a filter for specific PROFINET features, which is PROFINET IRT, RT, redundancy, MRP, whatever you like, you're able to filter it here as well. In addition to, it is possible to filter for vendors. For example, for different types, let me say Dunker or whatever. And last but not least, you're able to filter for product types. And product types means PLC, network communication, or servo motors, which is here, which occurs here, the servo motors. The manufacturer itself has a huge advantage to present their products, as I said, and guide the customer to their homepage on configurator. You're able to see it here on Dunker motor. The main information on the top is the order number, the link to the certification, a product type, a product picture, and here the link to the GSD, to FDI, to the firmware, the link to the manufacturer homepage, and to the configurator if possible. So the customer has immediately all information he needed and is able to get now to the manufacturer side. Here you find all PROFINET features which are supported by this product. So the customer is able to find everything what he needs. So to ensure now the same information model and the same understanding of the content for each field, we decided to use a standard information model called E-Class version 14 Advanced. And if you are interested in using this prototype or to put in your manufacturer products, we kindly invite you to two information sessions, which took place on the 5th of February and on the 28th of February. And there we are able to explain you a little bit more about the product finder, how you get inside, and what is the advantage. So yeah, that's in short sentence, what is the new PROFINET product finder, Alex.
Then I say thank you and good luck.
There was something very special to celebrate last year. For 35 years now, the Profibus user organization, P&O, has been working with growing success on the topic of standardization and related technologies. When the P&O was founded in December 1989, none of the founding members could have imagined the success that Profibus would have. The introduction of PROFINET followed in 2001. And today, both standards are established in automation. I spoke with Jamal Schmidt, a person who has contributed to driving the development forward for a good 30 years. Today, he is the chairman of PI. Alex Sauer.
Hi, Alex.
Profibus and PROFINET International has 35 years history now. What has been the highlights over the last year?
Yes, P&O has grown from a small startup, today we would say in these words, to a leading organization for the industrial communication and automation. For me, some highlights are, first of all, with Profibus, we advanced the so-called decentralization of installation in our plants and our machinery. It was a new approach in those times. And second, it was always the goal also in the beginning that we cover all requirements of all markets. This means, for example, the high requirements of machinery market, also especially requirements from the process automation, and also overall requirements like safety, what we fulfill with PROFIsafe, which is now the leading safety protocol. And with the transition to Ethernet-based communication, what we're doing with PROFINET, we create a future-proof communication architecture. This means that beside of real-time I/O data, we always have an open TCP/IP communication. And this helps us now more and more to fulfill the requirements for digitalization where we need the access to the data. Data is also one topic for another technology, which is in our portfolio, this is IO-Link, because the actors and sensors becoming more and more powerful. And those in need and possibility to transfer this data. And this is done by the world-leading IO-Link protocol. And in the recent years, we have introduced some additional technologies for automation, such as OMLOGs, SRCI for robotics, for modular machine, MTP, and SysNOR requirements. But to be open, it's not only a technology portfolio that has grown, and equal more important is our global community that supports, that spreads the technology, and of course further develops all the technologies.
Okay, that's a lot of different elements. How does it all fit together? Yes,
there are two directions. First of all, to ensure this different elements, this cooperation of these different organs, there are two directions necessary. First of all, a seamless integration all over the layers. This means, for example, that when we are talking about safety, then the safety in a sensor must be transferred over the layers and then without any system breaks up to higher levels. This is a vertical seamless integration, but nevertheless also horizontal integrations. This means exactly the interoperability means that we have so many test environment, test equipment that we ensure that all the different devices on the market work in the same manner and have no quality problem. And regarding our community, we inform, we educate, we train all our users and members so they can understand this technology and can apply this extensive portfolio without any problems. And this is also the reason why we are now, of course, #1.
And what are your plans for the future?
Yes, of course. First of all, do our homework. This means we expand, we maintain our existing technologies with the upcoming new requirements. There are smaller ones and there are greater ones. Greater ones, for example, we have to take care about security issues. Means we implement and we integrate now security also in PROFINET and also in other technologies. But nevertheless, we maintain, for example, MTP, where we get soon a version 2.0, which has an unified interface. And the next one, we have to hear our customers on the market, what is necessary, what we have to do in our specification, and of course in our certification. And so we have also our great community. This brings us also the great possibility to get all the requirements on the market to enhance our technology also in the future. So also with this technology enhancement and also with this take care of the requirements of the market, of our users, we enhance, we get our technology so we are future-proof. And overall for me, we want to help our users and our members to make this path to the digitalization of the automation as easy and as fast as possible as with our technologies. That's our overall goal.
Okay. Then thanks, Kava, for the insights and good luck and continue success for the future.
Thanks a lot, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The Profibus and Profinet International, PI, which was founded in 1995 and unite all regional representatives, asks the manufacturers for their sales figure every year. Since its launch, over 200 million devices has been sold, and thousands of companies worldwide has been accompanied into digitalization. Machines with our standardized and manufacturer-independent communication systems, run on every continent and every oceans in between. Before I tell you about the anchors documents, I would like to remind you about the feedback. This is particularly important to us, because they can help decide whether we continue this format or not. Of course, we would also like to know from them what we can improve. I would therefore ask you to take a few minutes to answer the feedback. Thank you in advance. All the documents shown available for you to download. All links have also been summarized once again in the links document. You can also use our websites profibus.com and profinet.com. Our newest articles will be published under profinews.com. Here you can also subscribe to our monthly newsletter. For our legal reasons, we are not permitted to publish the email addresses or telephone numbers of our member companies' employees. If you have any questions, please use our forum at forum.profinet.com. There are corresponding categories for most of the chapters shown. For the rest of there is the chapter PROFINET-NEWS under the category PROFINET in general. Our experts from the interviews and many other will support you there. Now we are at the end. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of PROFINET-NEWS. See you next time. Your Alex Wangler.